Today, we're doing a really focused deep dive. We're looking at an event called ISHTAR Rising. It's a 3-day military simulation or MILSIM event.
It's hosted by Veterans for Airsoft or VFA.
Right. And what's immediately clear when you look at the source material is that this is, well, it's so much more than just a weekend game.
It really is. Our mission for this deep dive isn't just about the schedule or the place. We're here to unpack how charity, a really deep sense of history, and some very complex rules all blend together to define what this is for the people who show up.
Okay, so let's start unpacking. ISHTAR Rising, this is the 8th annual charity event for VFA. And the mission documents, they describe it as this immersive, high-intensity experience.
All designed to build teamwork and unit cohesion over 3 basically nonstop days.
And that focus, that high intensity, it's tied right into the organization's whole philosophy.
It is. Their entire framework is built around this one motto: get kinetic.
Get kinetic.
Yeah. It's this idea that physical and mental engagement are just essential.
Amen.
The simulation itself, that's the tool they use to deliver that engagement.
Which brings us right to our first section, the mission and the movement behind all this. VFA, it's run by a 100% volunteer team. It's a 501c3 charity.
And that structure tells you something really important right off the bat. Every single dollar, every person's time, it's all laser focused on one thing.
And that one thing is?
It's providing these high-quality, structured MILSIM events, specifically for people who've served: military, law enforcement, first responders.
So all the money raised from ISHTAR Rising, it goes right back into that program.
Every penny. It's a closed loop. It supports their MILSIM program, which is what connects these veterans and first responders to this very specific, very high-stakes environment.
And you can really see that commitment in the ticketing. This is a key piece of information. For anyone with military service, tickets for ISHTAR Rising are completely free.
Completely.
Yeah.
Which is a huge investment in their community. But it's not just a free-for-all.
No, you have to be vetted.
You do. You have to email them, get vetted, and they issue you a code. And that vetting process, it's a huge signal. It tells you this isn't some casual weekend thing. It makes sure that the people there are exactly who the charity is meant to serve. It protects the integrity of the whole experience.
And it's not just the military. Law enforcement and emergency first responders, they get a big 25% discount. Also requires vetting.
So it's a clear commitment across that whole spectrum of high-stress service professions.
The why behind all this is maybe the most important part of the sources. VFA has partnered explicitly with the Alabama Mental Health Department.
Right. They're using this huge area of operations, this AO, not just to play a game, but to promote that get kinetic motto.
So let me get this straight. This isn't just veterans playing airsoft. It's a deliberately designed physical and mental challenge. It's a support network.
It is a non-clinical one,
Yeah.
where things like leadership, stress management, and, relying on your team, they can all be tested and reinforced.
So the simulation almost functions as a kind of a therapeutic tool.
Exactly. You could look at it that way.
Yeah.
It takes people who already thrive in these high-stakes team environments and puts them right back into a scenario where all those skills, communication, strategy, teamwork, are absolutely critical to succeed. It's a holistic approach, all framed by this shared immersive challenge.
That structural element is what makes it so unique. And speaking of unique, that takes us right into section 2, because the location for this event, it's an operational campus just loaded with history.
Oh, yeah. The Mount Vernon Arsenal Searcy Hospital in southern Alabama.
Tell us about this place.
Well, the site itself it's a historical anomaly. It has these layers of U.S. history that kind of perfectly mirror the two sides of VFA's mission: conflict and care.
Let's start with the conflict part, the arsenal.
So the Mount Vernon Arsenal was set up by the U.S. Army way back in 1828, right near the Mobile River. For decades, it was a primary ammunition plant, a major ordnance base right up through the Civil War.
And it's still standing.
Much of it is. The sources make a big point of this. Along with the KINETIC Arsenal in Maine, it's one of the most complete antebellum arsenals left in the country. So participants are moving through buildings that are themselves pieces of 19th century military history.
But the site didn't stay military.
No, it took a complete 180. In 1900, the Alabama legislature decided to put a mental health facility on the grounds. The main hospital, Bryce Hospital, was severely overcrowded.
Wow. So think about that shift. A place built for the tools of war becomes a place for mental health.
For healing, yeah. It opened in 1902 as the Mount Vernon Insane Hospital.
And then it was renamed?
In 1919, yes. It was renamed Searcy Hospital after its first superintendent, and it operated as a state psychiatric hospital for over 100 years. It finally closed for good in October of 2012.
So when these VFA participants are out there to get kinetic, they're moving across land that represents military supplies, Civil War history, and this long, complex story of psychiatric care.
Simultaneously. It's all there.
Do the sources say if VFA chose it for that reason? I mean, that duality of conflict and care seems too perfect to be a coincidence.
They don't state it that explicitly, no. But you can't deny the connection when you look at their mission. The location is like a silent partner in what they're doing. It adds this historical weight, It reinforces that this is serious business.
It elevates it.
It elevates it from just playing a scenario to something much more psychologically resonant.
And VFA is being a good steward of that history. They're partnering with the local community.
Absolutely. They're using the grounds of the Mount Vernon Historic Preservation Society for camping spots, which are free for participants. And, more importantly, they're making a donation to the society to help with their preservation and education mission.
That's key. It shows they respect the land and its story.
Right. It's about respecting the past while focusing on the future health of their members.
This level of detail, it leads us right into Section 3, the conflict simulation itself. And we have to really emphasize this point from the sources. This is not your typical force-on-force game.
Not at all. It's designed to push decision-making, not just, marksmanship. The whole thing is focused on teamwork and leadership. It's similar to what they call their Frago lane.
A Frago lane.
It's a military term. Fragmentary order, it means rapid, adaptable missions. The whole simulation is just a series of rolling missions over 3 days, but the real defining feature is the asymmetric rules of engagement, the ROE.
Okay, let's break down these three factions because their rules are worlds apart, and that's what creates this high-stakes environment. So we start with BLUFOR. This is the invading force. They wear tan-based camo, and the rules are strict. No black or red clothing allowed. Their mission is pretty clear. Gain control, disrupt local forces, establish regime change.
But here's their major constraint. They have to follow the Geneva Conventions. A strict ROE. They are the conventional military. Their actions are highly regulated, so their leaders aren't just thinking about winning, they're thinking about legality and accountability.
Then you have Green 4, the nation's forces. They wear green-based camo, again, no black or red. Their mission is defensive. They have to maintain control and stop BLO4.
Right. And Green 4 also follows the Geneva Conventions, but their ROE is described as loose.
Loose. What does that mean in practice?
It's a subtle but really important difference. It gives them a bit more flexibility than BLORE. They can maybe engage in actions that are on the edge of conventional conflict, which makes sense for a home defense force trying to repel an invasion.
Okay, so you have two conventional forces, one rigid, one flexible, but both playing by the rules. And then you throw in the wild card.
The agent of chaos.
That would be OPFR, the insurgent force. They wear civilian clothes, t-shirt, flannel, gray, blue, or black pants, and they absolutely cannot wear red, tan, green, or any camo.
And their job is to cause trouble, exploit the region, disrupt everyone, BLO4 and Green 4, and resist any kind of regime change.
And this is the part that explains the whole challenge of the event.
This is it. OPFOR follows and no ROE.
None.
None at all. So the whole simulation becomes asymmetric. When one side is totally unbound by rules, it creates a level of unpredictability and, frankly, ethical complexity that the other two factions have to deal with constantly.
So how does that actually affect the players on the ground?
It means BLF4 and Green 4 have to be in a constant state of hypervigilance. They know the threat doesn't play by their rules, so their focus has to shift from just winning a fight to really nuanced decision-making.
Right, because they can't use the same tactics against OPFR that they would against each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Geneva Conventions say no. And that tension, that ethical leash versus the need to complete the mission, that's what pushes people out of their comfort zone. That's the VFA mission in action.
It's a brilliant simulation of modern asymmetric warfare, but without the life or death risk. The pressure is all psychological and cognitive.
It is. It forces a total reliance on leadership. Leaders have to keep their unit together, keep them disciplined when facing an enemy that has no rules. That requires so much more than just a capture-the-flag mindset.
So now that we get the strategic depth, let's quickly hit Section 4, the 3-day immersion and the logistics. The whole schedule is built to make sure that immersion is total.
Oh, that strict schedule is absolutely critical. It maintains that psychological bubble. The event starts Friday evening, Start text is at 19:30 or 7:30 p.m., and it runs continuously until Sunday at noon,
That's nearly 40 hours of rolling missions.
with only a few structured breaks for resupply and rest.
And the arrival rules really emphasize this. Gates open at noon on Friday for registration, safety brief, all that. But they close hard at 5 p.m. on Friday. You have to be there and ready before it all kicks off.
And they are serious about it. The late arrival window is tiny. Saturday morning between 7:30 and 8:30, and the gates are hard closed at 9 a.m. Saturday. And crucially, the gates are locked during missions. You can't just run to your car or leave the AO for snacks. You're in. You can only leave during designated RFIT breaks. It completely eliminates any casual participation. If you sign up, you're signing up for the full 40-hour immersion.
Which, again, goes right back to get kinetic. You have to plan ahead, conserve your resources, and rely on your team.
Exactly. And just to touch on the other details, general admission is $200, press tickets are $75, it's 16 and up, but you have to have a playing parent or guardian with you.
And one last thing that brings it all back to the mission. Their strict, no refund, no ticket transfers policy. It has one single exception.
For military personnel,
Right.
it seems like a small administrative detail, but it's so telling. It just reinforces that VFA's primary focus is on those who serve. They will accommodate their core audience because they are a veteran-focused charity first and a MILSIM organizer second.
So let's recap this for the listener. We've got VFA's mission, a volunteer-run charity for veteran and first responder well-being using high-intensity simulation. We have this incredible historical setting.
The Mount Vernon Arsenal, a place that went from a Civil War ammo depot to a mental health hospital for a century.
And we've analyzed the engine of the event, a deeply structured, asymmetric conflict. The key takeaway for you is that the depth of this experience comes from the deliberate engineering of stress and ethical problems.
Especially with that stark difference in rules of engagement between the conventional forces and the completely unrestricted OPFOR.
It's clear that ISHTAR Rising is built to be a developmental tool, not just entertainment. The free, vetted tickets and the unique history of the site just underscore how serious VFA is about the experience they're providing.
It really is a remarkable meeting of history, charity, and complex tactical design, and it raises an important question for you to think about as you process all this. Given that this area of operations served as both a place of military storage and later a facility for mental health, what unique psychological pressures might operating a three-faction, no ROE simulation on land so rich in that kind of history place on the veterans and first responders participating? And how might the sheer weight of that dual history amplify the demands of the Get Kinetic motto in ways that, a modern sterile training ground could never achieve?
A profound thought on how place and mission are connected. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We'll see you next time.